Okay. So, hi everyone. So, just thank you to be here with us. I saw that on LinkedIn we are 30 people. So, it's cool to see you today, this Friday. So, we are welcoming today Nisrine Kane. If it's correct how to spell it. And the idea today of this webinar is really to exchange with some tech talents that are living in USA, particularly in the West Coast, and if it's better, the Silicon Valley. So we have the opportunity to exchange with today with Nisrine, and we have also with us Jennifer, who is based also in Silicon Valley, and he's a co-founder of Qwasar, which is a learning platform. So maybe just some few words about Web4Jobs. So what we are a program that is designed to improve youth employability. So what we try to do is to bring alternative programs and customized programs for training, particularly in the coding, and we are partnered with the Qwasar for that. But also we help people to find the right companies for their job. So we are partnership with many companies. And the general idea of our approach is really to be a kind of a bridge between the web people and the jobs. We are operating some national program like the INDH, Initiative Nationale pour le Développement Humain, or even Job in Tech. So with Qwasar, what we have also is that we have a lot of AI training courses, and maybe Jennifer will have the opportunity during this webinar to speak about it a little bit, and if you have questions. The general idea is now to say, okay, coding is everywhere, and AI is starting to be everywhere. So the idea is really to know how to explore AI in order to be more relevant in our day-to-day business. So we have training courses, agentic AI for engineers, agentic AI for marketers, agentic AI for finance and accounting, sales, operations. So any process that are existing in companies can be today accelerated by AI. So don't hesitate if you have questions. And as a partner of Qwasar, we are able to provide you those courses directly here from Morocco. So today we are sharing this American experience with Nisrine. So today, what we expect from this webinar is to know more about Nisrine, to know more about her journey, how things are working in the US, but also to have some tech insights. And because we're talking about codings, everyone said, okay, with AI, maybe tomorrow with coding people will disappear, but maybe that there is another reality. And Nisrine, based in Silicon Valley, can give us some what's happening there and how AI is used. So this is also the idea behind that. And feel free to ask questions, so she can give you some advices of how to do things, how to get hired by American companies, how to work remotely, a lot of tips. So I will stop my sharing, and I think we can come back to the webinar and start with my first question. So again, Nisrine, thank you to be here. And if we start by a small presentation about you, so I give you the floor to present yourself and a little bit about your experience. And then I will introduce also Jennifer. So, and we can also start with the more questions.
Okay. Thank you, Yusuf. So thank you for inviting me, first of all. My name is Nisrine. I'm from Morocco. I professionally, I did not have a tech degree. My degree is in arts and humanities. But ironically, right after graduating, I was really into tech. At first, it was all about fixing hardware, software, just out of curiosity. I just loved exploring and deassembling, reassembling anything, whether it's like a gaming console or phones or laptops. It was just my hobby and my passion. I didn't honestly take it seriously. I just did it for fun. And after graduating, I got a scholarship from the American Embassy. I would encourage, if anyone is English speaking, if your English is really good, I would encourage you to check out the US Embassy website and their America just to start off. That's pretty good thing to know. They offer a lot of scholarships, whether you're a student, a junior developer, a professional. There's a lot of opportunities and scholarships that are still being offered, a lot of programs. It's spanning decades, so go check it out. So yeah, I came to Seattle, studied here. I was kind of encouraged to do what I love. So after I came back to Morocco, I started taking classes in coding. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard of online courses from EDX, Udemy, Coursera. Again, I was just doing it for fun. Wasn't something that I was actually considering as a career. And yeah, so I started my GitHub, started working on personal projects, and then I moved here in 2020, so right during COVID. And because of the shutdown, I got to actually take time to code and get deeper in it, not just doing front end, but also working on data structures, algorithms, backend. So I'm pretty much self-taught, and realized that I would be a little more confident enrolling in a coding bootcamp, which is why I did Coding Dojo. So I would guess it's parallel to what a lot of you are doing with Qwasar and the online training for software engineering and AI classes is also what I've done. And after graduation, I started my career with a SaaS company. I got to learn a lot about how to work with a team, like professionally, basic things like Git. I got to learn about system architecture and got to learn from my coworkers who are more experienced than me. And I would say that there are a lot of things that you can only learn on the job. So another tip that I would slip in right now is that don't wait until you feel totally ready to apply for jobs. Start applying for jobs even before you graduate from your coding bootcamp. And yeah, I spent, I think, 1 year there. And then right after, I've had a brief 2 months as a contractor with another company. And then after that, a recruiter on LinkedIn reached out, and that's how I was able to get my current position. I started off as a backend engineer just because I really love backend engineering, and transitioned into more of a full stack engineer, tech lead. So yeah, currently I work with Tombar, which is a BaaS company, banking as a service. We do banking services like banking accounts, loans, lines of credit, other features. We're also developing AI features for financial features to help growers just make the most of their money. Because in America, there's a lot of focus on soybean farmers and not enough on specialty crop, like vegetables, fruits, that sort of thing. We think that a lot of farmers are overlooked from that angle. So we're doing our best to just develop useful features to help them be stronger financially. And I think that's my journey.
It's amazing. So you have also had a kind of boot camp in order to accelerate your training, which is amazing, because it's also what people are currently doing here in Morocco. There is a lot of boot camps between 4 and 6 months in order to accelerate their training. And maybe it gives me the opportunity for Jennifer to also a little bit explain how boot camps are working at Qwasar and what Qwasar is doing. So Jennifer.
Thanks, Youssef. Great to see you as well, Nisrine. Thanks for joining us. So my name's Jennifer. I am based in San Jose, California, so inside Silicon Valley. And I'm one of the co-founders of Qwasar. So we work closely with Youssef and with Web4Jobs and the whole team there to deliver programs in different areas, as you mentioned. I think one of the things that we really strive for at Qwasar is to offer programs that are short enough to enable people to switch careers or learn more, but also deep enough that they meet the minimum requirements for jobs today. Our focus is really on hands-on learning, applied learning, right? Like if you want to be a good developer, you have to spend time writing code. Like there's no shortcut, there's no cheating. Is you actually have to spend time coding, programming, fixing bugs, deploying, everything, right? That's the way people learn. And so rather than spending hours and hours in lectures, instead students spend hours and hours actually building projects. They start small and simple, and then we go all the way up until people are rebuilding different kinds of software, etc. So the other fun thing we have, which I think is pretty unique, is that we offer, or students can do technical interview role plays. And so they get to practice technical interviews by doing them with each other, right? So one student is the interviewer, and the other student is the interviewee. And it's fascinating because, you still get given a technical interview question. You don't know what it is until you turn up to the interview. And if you're the interviewer, you have, the kind of solutions or different ways to solve the problem. And it's such a great way to, do your first technical interview, your second, your third, your 10th, your 20th, because it enables you to get used to the format and the pressure and the nerves and, how you will operate, how you think in a context that has no cost to failure, right? Like if it was a real interview and you failed and you had to do 20 real interviews and just until you got better, that would be awful. And so the fact that you get to practice in a learning environment, but in a way that still reflects how they actually happen on the job or in the process, it's great. I don't know any other program that offers that. So yeah, that's a bit about us. We do have a variety of subjects. Quickly, I will touch on some of the fun ones. The newer ones are agentic AI. Agentic AI for engineers. We also have one that's AI applications developer, which is focused on large language models, fine-tuning, RAGs, etc. And then we've got another 2 in the works, which is, or one of them is learning how to use AI coding agents like Claude Code and Codex, which will be, I think, really good, but also really challenging at the same time. So there you go, Youssef. That's a bit about Qwasar. And what we do.
Thank you. So if you move to Nisrine, so I will start with the one question, which is, what is the Silicon Valley reality? How things are working? So you are a developer. You are now working for a software company, but I would say that, how is your basic day currently? Do you go to the office? Do you work remotely? How you daily using the technology in your job?
Well, we work remotely. Our team spans all across the United States. The company is technically based in San Francisco, but we're a small team. We don't need to go to an office, and I think it works really nice for everyone to be working remote. I would say my typical day would start with checking emails first, just to see if there's any tickets that were created, any PRs that were opened by my coworkers that need to be reviewed. And stand up is a daily meeting where all of the engineering team, sometimes even product team, joins, and we exchange all of the updates, all of the work that we've done, for example, yesterday. So stand up is like pretty early in the morning. That's why we share what we've done the day before, and then what we're planning to work on today. We go through Jira tickets. This is what we use, Jira, and we check the workload that we have. And then, yeah, typical day would be just working through the tickets that were assigned to me. Again, any PRs that were opened by my coworkers that I need to review. Yeah, things have changed a lot in the last few years where software engineers are using AI tools a lot more. I would say previously, I would do everything manually. Right now, it is a great boost of productivity to use AI tools to not only help you finish the code, but also write unit tests and write documentation, things that used to take a big chunk of the day and that were pretty redundant are now like more streamlined. I will say though that at the end of the day, I am the software engineer. I have responsibility of the code. So I do have to check the code, obviously, have to make sure that it is written correctly, that it was implemented correctly, have to make sure that it doesn't break anything. I have to think of edge cases. So yeah, on one part, like the work has been, we're working faster and we are implementing things much faster with AI, but at the same time, the fundamental thing about being a software engineer is still the same, which is given good quality code, make sure that it's readable, it's easy to manage for other engineers that will come after you and work on that code after you. And yeah, at the end of the day, you are the owner of the code. So we still treat AI tools as just tools. It's not a replacement for what we do.
And I think this is one of the question for a lot of people. So how you use the AI tools, and what are, let's say, some tips that you can give to our audience. We're almost 60 people connected right now, and the idea is to say, okay, what are the tips of Silicon Valley today? What are the right tools to use? You know, when it comes to AI tools, you have to pay for tokens, but sometimes people are investing a little bit. But when I was discussing with Jennifer, she told me that some developers are paying more than $500 per day on tokens because they develop a lot. So let's imagine how how it works. So yeah, if you can give us some tips on for developers how to really use AI and how you use it there particularly, and what are the good tools, what to avoid.
I will say that we already know, I think everybody knows, every day there is a new tool that's coming out and people are like, you need to try this, you need to try that. For me, I think that there is top 5 tools that everybody knows about already. You have Claude Code, you have Cursor, and I think that at one point they are all doing a good job, and it just depends on you, on what you want from the tool or how comfortable you are with it. Me personally, I use Cursor just because it's in an IDE, so I don't need to switch windows or anything. And also, like, I'm really happy with just what Cursor does for me. So I think I'm happy with the responses that it generates. I'm happy with the work that it does. It's very helpful in debugging. It can handle complex bugs. So that for me is enough. I know my coworkers are using different other tools. In terms of money spent, I will say that if you start working for a company, the company will definitely cover the subscription. They see that now as like part of the job. So just like they cover for your laptop and sometimes your internet subscription, they will cover for that if you ask. For tokens, for me personally, I pay, I think it's $20 for Cursor, and the token maximum, the limit is pretty generous. I'm pretty sure that there are people who spend $500 on tokens. I don't know, like maybe the work that they're working on or the context is pretty huge. But for me, I have not heard of that yet for the people that I know. And yes, there are free freemium or free tools. I think Cursor does have like a hobby subscription, which is free that you can use if you're a student. I think ChatGPT also has free subscription. Claude is not free, but Claude is also excellent. For me, I think that Claude Code is really excellent at doing the job and complex debugging tasks. But yeah, I would say for the tips for using AI tools is just find the one that's comfortable for you, find one that understands the context of what you're working on. And also prompting. If you're a software engineer, I think one of the skills that you need to learn nowadays is just English and how to write a prompt. Because if you give it enough context, if you explain the problem very clearly or what you're trying to build very clearly, then that's how you get a good response. If you're not clear, then whatever LLM you're going to use, even if it's the top LLM scoring very well on all benchmarks, but you give it like a really short prompt and you're just assuming that it's going to understand everything for you, then you're not going to get the response that you're looking for. And maybe even it might solve whatever problem that you are trying to solve, but break other things. So I would say that's one tip, is that make sure that while it solves part of your code, it doesn't break other things in your code. And another tip that I would say for AI tools, me personally, especially doing backend engineering, I do not give it database access. I do not also trust the queries, like database queries. I've heard way too many horror stories of even advanced AI like Claude wiping off the production database and also wiping off the snapshot, like the backup of the production database. So I would say be very careful. If you'd like to do that, that is, it's go for it. I would just say personally, think twice before giving AI tools database access. But yeah.
Particularly the production one, because they can do.
Yes.
What you, and you know, for the prompting, I don't know if you heard about an app called Prompt Cowboy. It's very interesting because you just give to the tool the sentence what you want to do, and they generate a prompt for you, and you have just to copy paste the prompt, but it helps you to customize your prompt, so you can then take it and say, okay, I want a prompt for Claude Code, and they prepare the prompt for what you want. But when it comes to make a development, I think that also a developer must be aware that there is some steps to do before. So you need to define your architecture. Even if the AI is doing that for you, you must control the architecture that he's proposing, all the tables that he wants to create for you, all the type of vision of the product that he's building for you. You must be sure that it's really what has been expected or requested, sorry, by end user or by a client, and to be sure that it will be developed as you expect. And you said about testing, so also you have some tips on AI tools for testing. Is directly on Cursor, or there is other tools that you use for testing?
No, for now I just use Cursor for testing, but I also realize that it has its limitations. There are certain edge cases that are more product oriented than engineering oriented. I think Cursor and a lot of AI tools are strong at technical testing, but when it comes to you still need a QA team, you still need to test your own code end to end. I would say that the weakness that I've noticed obviously is logic and like product oriented testing. If there is an edge case that is very specific to the domain that you're working in, I think that's where you as a software engineer, it's your responsibility to either write that test or walk Cursor through generating tests like that.
And maybe a question for you, Jennifer. So with the AI certification provided by Qwasar, what are the students that are now starting to use your or to want to apply for those certification, and what are their feedback at the end of the certification? Are they AI ready, or and the things are clear for them?
Interesting. So I think we see a range, honestly, of some students have maybe been to hackathons or like played around with different tools previously, and other students, they haven't at all and they're new to it, right? Like they've still done programming or software development, but they haven't specifically gone into these areas. I think the biggest thing that blows their mind is what we're actually capable of today, right? That there's such a monumental shift between 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, and today, in terms of like what tools and capabilities are within a software engineer's like range. Agents, like AI agents, I think are absolutely fascinating. The other thing I find fascinating is the adoption of coding agents in like the entire engineering, like software engineering industry, compared to other industries, right? Like the adoption rate is, I don't know, like above 70% or some like crazy number. Whereas if you look at in sales, marketing, operations, like it's not even past 20%. Like it's just the engineers are just miles ahead, which I think shows that they're clearly, these are great products. Like engineers find them useful. I mean, history's told us how awesome they are and everything it enables. So I think for many people, it's just like in their mind, it's a shift in understanding like what I am capable of doing, like what I'm unlocked to be able to do. Like, oh, I don't have to spend my hours typing something out, finding a bug or writing tests anymore. Like there's an agent that can help me do that in 1/10 of the time. Right. And I think then it goes further in like, oh, well, what are the, where can I build agents for my engineering department or for my team that can help us deliver faster, find bugs, like increase test coverage, improve deployment, right? I was hearing a story the other day where deploying, like compiling and deploying would take a day just because their system was so bad and so slow and nobody wanted to touch it. Which is not a good attitude. I will just note that like, oh, I'm scared to touch it. No. Like, but anyway, so they had a hackathon like within their company just for a day, right? An internal hackathon. And so somebody said, all right, we're going to tackle this. Like we are no longer going to accept that 1 day is an acceptable length of time for deployment. And so they reduced it down to, I think like an hour. And so it's just understanding like what we're capable of doing, the speed of development, the pace of change. That's what really I think amazes people. The other thing that's cool is to see what they build, right? Like certainly in the Agentic AI course, a lot of the students do like a capstone project or something at the end, and it's just incredible to see what ideas they come up with, etc. People come from all different areas, backgrounds, industries. And so when you give them the freedom of choice after they have developed a new skill set and like tools and capabilities, it's just, amazing to see.
I think for entrepreneurs, it's quite interesting because they can, if they're able to develop or to write code by themselves, so they can build their own applications. And they don't need, they can have their own CRM, they can have their own marketing tool, they can build everything by themselves. And instead of buying tools, and at least they have exactly what they expect. But each time it's the same story. You have to know exactly what you want to build, or at least to have the global view in order to build something good. Because if you don't have the good overview of your product, the AI will produce shit because it will produce what you give them.
Interestingly, there was an article that came out, I think 2 days ago, about a guy, an entrepreneur who built like $1 billion company. Now the value is $1 billion, so take it with a grain of salt. And he had built lots of agents to do it. They had agents for marketing, agents for sales, agents for customer support, like Claude Code for development, etc. And the thing he said was, it's very lonely, because it was just him. And I thought it was very interesting feedback.
Yeah, but so for this, I would say for the transition. So Nisrine, you said okay, you work sometimes remotely or you work at the office, but globally, how it's easy or difficult to find a job as a developer or a software engineer currently? Do you still have a lot of solicitations, people contacting you in order for opportunities, or it's complex currently?
I would say it's complex. Currently, I work remote, but I still get, I would say last year, I was not getting as many recruiters reaching out. This year, I'm noticing a shift a little bit. I have recruiters reaching out on LinkedIn. Most of the positions, though, they want working in office or hybrid. But I still get recruiters reaching out for remote work. So that's a good sign. That means that AI has not replaced completely software engineers. I will say that for globally, the main challenge is time zone. That's what I keep hearing a lot, is just being available during the same time that your employers or the product team, or whenever there's stand-up or a meeting, they just want you to be available during the same hours. So I would say it's very possible to get a global remote job, especially if your English is really good, because for a lot of teams, English is their second language. You might have a team. In my previous job, we've had the entire team was international. We had people from all over the world, and I was able to find a job through Wellfound. So Wellfound is great for startups. If you're just starting, I would encourage you to go and check it out, because it's harder on LinkedIn and other websites like Indeed. If you're a junior developer or you just graduated, you are still competing with people who are applying for the same job but have 2 or 3 years of experience, versus Wellfound, where it's truly for junior developers. So it's totally possible. It just depends on the time zone. And I would say one pushback on the time zone is that if you're okay with working a little later, that will definitely make it easier for other people to be okay with having an international employee.
How you spell it, this website?
Wellfound, WELLFOUND. Wellfound.
Okay, great. And maybe if you have some words in Arabic and to explain in بالمغربية شوية كيفاش تكون دابا الخدمة. Sorry Jennifer, it's we switch in Arabic, huh? But donc كي دايره الخدمة تماك والخدمة نقولوا remotely، باش نعطيو فكرة إلا كانوا بعض المغاربة تسمعوا فينا بغاو يخدموا مع شركات في سيليكون فالي، شنو تنتظروا منهم، وإلا بغاو يلقاو خدمة. دونك قلتي لنا كاين ويل فاوند، دونك سي ان اكزومبل. دونك فوالا، دونك إلا كانت بالمغربية جوست بوغ شانجي ان بو.
ماشي مشكل. دكتور فوزة، إلى نقول بأنه في أمريكان واحد الحاجة اللي مهمة عندهم بزاف هي لا كولتور. دونك ماشي غير سكيلز ديالك، لي كومبيتونس ديالك، حيت دابا ولا بزاف ديال الناس كيقدروا يديروا كودين بالاي دونك سهل الامور بزاف. دونك واخا تكون نتايا جونيور ما عندكش بزاف ديال الاكسبيريونس، تقدر دير هذه الخدمه ديالك. مي الحاجه اللي مهمه بزاف عند الشركات الامريكانيه هي لا كولتور، كيفاش نتايا داير كوم بيرسون اللي غتجي للخدمه، واش كتعاون الناس اللي خدامين معاك، واش كتشوف هاد الخدمه ديالك على بانها غير خدمه من 9 ديال الصباح حتى ل 5 ديال العشيه، او لا فريمون بغيتي هاد الشركه سورتو في لي ستارت اب. حيت الا كنتي خدام مع شركه كبيره لامباكت ديال الخدمه ديالك ما كيكونش باين بزاف. الا كنتي خدام مع 200 ديال الناس او 300 ديال الناس، واخا الخدمه ديالك راها مهمه ما كيبانش لامباكت ديالها في الاخر فاش كيجي بحال دابا first quarter second quarter ولا الاخر ديال العام. مي الا كنتي غتخدم مع ستارت اب وسيليكون فالي عامره ستارت اب بزاف، سوف الا كنتي في مينغ للشركات الكبار ديال التك، اغلبيه ديال الوقت غادي تخدم مع اون ستارت اب، ولي ستارت اب كيكونوا فيهم الناس قلال، دونك اي حاجه درتيها غتبان، غيبان لو ريزولتا. الا درتي حاجه مزيانه، الا خدمتي مزيان وبينتي راسك بانك عزيز عليك ليكيب ديالك وكتعاونهم وكتعاونوا بعضياتكم وما عندكش ليغو. كاينين شي ناس اللي كيكون عندهم بحال هكا ليغو، كيقول لك انا كتبت هذا لو كود ما بغيت حتى شي حد يبدل هذا لو كود، او لا كريتيك الناس اللي يجيبوا شي ايدي اللي مختلفه عليك. دونك غادي تكون بلو ديفيسيل بانه تلقى خدمه الا كانت عندك هذيك لا مونتاليتي. مي الا كانت عندك مونتاليتي ديال انا بغيت نتعلم من الناس اللي انا خدام معاهم، واخا يكونوا همايا عندهم قل من الاكسبيريونس ديالي، سي توجور بوسيبل انك تتعلم من الناس اللي خدامين معاك. دونك الا كانت عندك ديك لا مونتاليتي ديال بانه انا بغيت هاد الشركه تنجح حيت انايا هاد الفريق هو هاد ليكيب، حنا كنا ما بغيتش نقول بحال اون فامي حيت كتكون فيها تغيروا كلشي. مي الا كانت عندك هذيك لا مونتاليتي ديال كيقولوا لها اونرشيب مينتاليتي، بانه كتشوف راسك ماشي غير كوم ان امبلويي، مي بحال راك هاد الشركه راك عندك ان بورسونتاج فيها. هذا هو لا مونتاليتي اللي كيبغيو يخدموا معاها. اي دو توت فاصون الا خدمتي مع ستارت اب غادي يعطوك ان بورسونتاج ديال الشركه باش يلا يعاونوك يكون عندك هاد لا مونتاليتي بانه راه انايا عندي انفستيسمون في هاد الشركه وبغينا كلنا حنايا ننجحوا لهاد الستارت اب. دونك
شكرا.
كنعمل بانه واش شرحت مزيان.
لا, c'est cool. Ce que je vais faire, I will take some questions from the audience. So on LinkedIn, I saw some questions. So I will start with the question from, I saw many questions. So let me check it. From Abdul Hakim, he said, as a tech lead, how do you evaluate junior developers? Do you prefer those with strong fundamentals in coding and the problem solving, or those who can ship features quickly using AI tools but without deeply understand the code?
I would say first that shipping prototypes using AI without understanding the code is not something anyone should do, whether you're a junior engineer or a senior engineer. I think it's very important to understand what the code, like what the AI tool that you're using, what it is producing. But as a tech lead, I will say how willing you are to learn. How problem solving is very important. Right now, it's like, even like I said, everybody can code these days. If you have the right AI tools and if you have the right fundamentals, whether you have graduated from college or from coding bootcamp, you know the fundamentals, you have the AI tools to help you do the job. But how willing are you to also solve complex problems that might not, it's what comes before the implementation of the code. Like, how do you think about a problem? What kind of system architecture are you going for to solve this problem? Are you going all out to solve a simple issue, or do you have something more lean? Are you thinking in a lean way? So it depends on like the way that you think in systems. I don't agree with the leak code problems for recruiting engineers in general, because yes, data structures and algorithms are part of the job if you're a backend engineering, but usually it's for optimization. It's something that you think about later, especially when it comes to startups. You just want to create something, ship it, get feedback, you're dealing with MVPs. So no, I wouldn't say like you need to be a wizard at data structures and algorithms. I would say it's a balance. Yeah. So yeah, how are you using those AI tools? Are you using them blindly, or are you actually understanding how to use them? And how do you think about a problem before implementing the code? I think that's the most important part of what makes you an engineer, especially these days with AI tools.
Thank you very much. And we have another question from Yasir. He said, what is the most important skills someone should start developing today if they want to work in Silicon Valley? So he said the mentality.
Yeah, I like this question because I will say that these days, yes, obviously the mentality, prompting, you really need to know how to prompt. But as a software engineer, the skills would be, you still need to understand software engineering and coding because you're not going to be able to use AI tools if you don't understand the nicks and quirks of how to build a system, how to build a foundation. One of the skills that's still sought after is DevOps. It's a lot of people do a lot of vibe coding, and then once they want to deploy their app, they're stuck in DevOps, and especially if you have something that's not just a personal project, that you're, it's like you're working for a real company, you need to actually deploy this the proper way, you need to implement a deployment infrastructure. So I would say skills in AWS or GCP or CI/CD, anything that you would like to learn, I would say learn DevOps skills. Learn about deployment. Don't just build your project, but actually deploy it as if you're trying to get 100+ users. There are a lot of AWS offers free credits, so you can just spin up databases and try deployments all for free as a student. There's Vercel, which also offers a free tier, so you can use that. Other skills, I would say, not just AI tools are used by software engineers, but companies, US companies, are going really hard into incorporating AI features these days. Everybody is implementing AI features in all sectors and domains that I've noticed. So I would say learn how to implement AI, because even if you have a data science team in your company, they will need the software engineers to actually implement what the data scientists have produced. So I will say learn how to play with incorporating AI into your project, whether it's something as simple as API calls for and implementing Claude API or ChatGPT API, or something like actually integrating a model in your project. You can do that. I will give you websites. I've been using OpenRouter when learning how to do incorporate AI, and Hugging Face. Hugging Face, I think there's a lot of models that you can use for free. You don't have to pay anything. And yeah, open routers, you can incorporate APIs to call certain LLMs or other, just to implement AI as an API. So I would say right now, we've also noticed a spike in, I would say, AI adjacent roles, like AI infrastructure engineer. Backend engineers had to incorporate AI models as well. So I would say that's something that you definitely need to work on. Those are certain skills that you need to have that will make you more marketable to recruiters.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And maybe I have a question for you, Jennifer. From Leila, in an AI-driven development landscape, so do you think the real edge will come from mastering fundamentals or from the ability to design and orchestrate intelligent systems at scale?
You can't do one without the other. Like you can't, well, no, like how are you going to design a good system if you don't understand the fundamentals, right? So if you don't understand how like memory works, for example, or different data types, data structures, you might design a system that uses so much memory that like the size of, I don't know, cloud resources required would spend $1 million a year. I would consider that, for a small app, that is a failure, in my opinion, right? Like you completely not understood how to architect something in a way that makes sense. And that assumes that you don't have any memory problems, seg faults, and things, just don't get stuck. So to me, like you can't do you can't do architecture without the fundamentals. You can have fundamentals without architecture, however. So it's a good question, but I think I understand what you're getting at, right? Is ultimately we're heading to the question of, will software engineers essentially write so little code or no code that all they do are essentially architecting and telling, Claude Code or Codex or whatever, what they actually want built. We're not there yet. Like we're close, but you still have to understand what's happening. And this is what Nisrine was saying. You have to understand what's happening. You have to understand what you're asking, right? You have to understand what you're building. If you just start pushing things to prod left, right, and center, like it's inevitable that it will break. And when it breaks, if you don't understand what's happening, how are you going to fix it? And Claude Code is good, but it's not perfect. It cannot fix every bug. And I know I had one recently. This was one of our student projects. It was a like additional extracurricular project they did. And they asked every large language model and coding agent, and it could not figure it out. Our CTO had a similar problem, and he had to solve the problem on his own. So, equally, obviously, the coding agents continue to improve, right? Just in the last 3 years, the improvement is significant and incredible. And so the question is, well, how much better can they get? We don't know. We don't know the answer to that question. Time will tell. So yeah, I would say though, I've had this discussion, with the team, with my husband, who's a head of software engineering, right? Like part of the fun of being a software engineer, what people enjoy, is not physically typing the letters for code, right? It's the logic. It's thinking about like, how do I actually go about solving this problem? Or it's finding a problem, right? Like finding the bug. Why is this not working? Why is it not doing what I should? And then going and finding a solution to solve it, right? You don't have to literally type the code to do all of those things. So I would say, we still have to think that the actual skills and tasks of the job will largely remain the same. It's just the tools used to physically write the code might be different. It's a good question.
And I saw in the chat a lot of questions about, okay, if we have to master one skill, or in order to start his software engineer career. So I saw many questions about that. So maybe for you, Nisrine, and for you, Jennifer, if there is one skill to master when we start our coding career, what will you recommend? One skill or two skills, let's say.
I would say, from the practical side, you need to obviously know just the foundation of coding. The framework doesn't matter, or the language doesn't matter. Pick the language that you enjoy solving the problem in, because it will be harder to have a career with a language that you don't even enjoy. I will say either front end, back end. You'll have to check like what career path that you want. So before just picking the skill, I would say first sit down and think about what kind of software engineer you want to be. Do you want to be front end? Do you want to be back end? Do you want to be DevOps? And then pick a language, understand the fundamentals of that language. And like Jennifer was saying, and like I said before, yes, AI tools will help you, but the way you're learning it, you have to learn it to understand the actual fundamentals. What if your internet connection dies and you have to do the coding yourself? You should still be able to code even without AI tools. And even if you have the best prompts, you still need to understand how to build those systems. So yeah, I would say basically just pick the actual path that you want, front end, back end, DevOps, and then pick the main language, the frameworks, build something that's actually useful. I will say nowadays you can't just build weather app or something like that. It's no longer attractive to recruiters. You have to build something that showcases something that other companies actually want from you, and it will help also if you know what domain or sector you want to work in. So for example, if you're more leaning towards healthcare or fintech or something like that, build something that will actually have users and deploy it. Also, another tip that I always say is make sure to deploy your project so that recruiters are able to see it, because when they go to GitHub, they see the actual repo, but they don't understand. A lot of recruiters are not very like super tech savvy, but that's your first point of contact before they send you over to the head software engineer. And so all they see is a link with random files. Help them out and help yourself out getting recruited, getting a position by actually deploying your project so that they're able to see what you've built. But yeah, the basic tip is just pick one language and try to get the foundations of it and build something using it.
And maybe Jennifer, with your global overview of different skills development.
So I've seen like thousands of learners over the last 10 years. And the number one skill that you need is very simple. You do not give up, right? It's honestly like, this is a very black and white area, is the people who succeed are the people who do not give up. And the people who don't succeed are the ones who do give up, right? And so, and this applies to being a great software engineer or a great developer, is they are great because they don't give up, right? That, you know, their boss knows, their team knows, they can give them a problem, they will find it, right? They will solve it. So, you know, you're going to have to learn an enormous number of skills, right, to get a job. Like there's a reason that these are high-paying roles, is because it's not easy, right? And so, you know, if there's one skill, in my opinion, that will get you all the others, it's that you don't give up.
Yeah. So there is another question from Khadra. She said, do international companies accept applications from candidates applying abroad? And what can increase the chance of being accepted? So maybe with your experience, Nisrine, you were in Morocco and you moved to USA. Do you have some, or maybe some friends that you know that have applied from Morocco and found a job directly in USA, or maybe other kind of experience like that?
Not from Morocco, but I do know friends from Europe and Southern America who were able to get jobs remotely in the United States. And I'll say the common point is just having an impressive resume. And when I say impressive resume, it doesn't mean that you've already worked with big companies. It just means like the projects that you've worked on, really good LinkedIn profile that showcases using the right keywords so that it's easier for recruiters to find you. And yeah, GitHub applications that actually have users on them really help, because it helps simulate professional experience. If you found a problem and decided to make the solution by building something, deploying it, and getting actual users, that is impressive for junior developers. You already have something that a lot of junior developers do not, which is having experience with scaling, deployment, optimization, handling real users. That's basically what a real company does. So if you're able to do that, I think that will help you a lot. That will help your resume and help you get noticed. As I said, also, if you have any projects on GitHub, deploy them so that the recruiter is able to see them. They're not just going to see random files, and make sure that the projects are relevant. Like I said, 5 years ago or 8 years ago, weather app would have been really cool project to showcase as a junior developer. Nowadays, if you're able to showcase that you're working with AI, not as an AI tool for software engineers, but actually building an app that has some sort of AI feature in it, that's a big plus for US companies. I will say, yeah, a lot of companies still work remotely, especially small startups. They don't want to spend money on having an office. So remote is still the way to go for small companies. But you will have to be okay with working later because of the time zone and because of a lot of meetings that happen, and working the same hours as your coworkers and as your team.
Thanks a lot. And I will take two more questions. One is by saying, what is the biggest mistake you see junior developers making when they first start using AI to help them with their code? So what are the mistakes that they do, or what are the mistakes that you recommend they don't have to do?
Mistakes related only to AI tools,
Yeah,
or
for
just mistakes in
juniors.
general?
No, I think globally, when junior developers are starting, what are the mistakes? And particularly the one who start to use AI and
Yeah, I will say the mistakes as a junior developer that I've made is not asking for help and trying to figure it out myself, because I first joined the team and everyone around me were very experienced, and I just wanted to keep up. I did not want to be a burden on my team. I didn't understand at the time that it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have, there will be a time where you just simply don't know something, and that's okay. You learn a lot of things on a job. It doesn't matter if you have 10 years experience, no experience at all. Reach out, or else you're going to become a blocker for your team. If you don't know something, there is no shame in saying that you don't know it. Reach out to your coworkers, ask for help, use the AI tools, but do not just sit and be stubborn and try to solve it for like 1 or 2 days. It's just going to become a blocker for the entire company, especially for startups. I will say for AI tools, I feel like it's something that we keep repeating, but make sure you understand the code that whatever AI tool you're using is spitting out. Even if you're a great software engineer, even if you understand everything, understand how your code is implemented, understand what it does, understand what every piece of code, where it is and how to find things, because if you need to debug something, or and the AI tool is not able to fix it for you, then you will have to fix it yourself. And if you don't even know where the code for that feature that's broken is, then that is a big problem. Then at this point, that's the difference between being a software engineer and vibe coding. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the biggest issue, is just pushing code that you do not understand. And that will also make it harder for people who come after you. For example, let's say another engineer joins the team and you're the owner of that code. If you cannot even walk yourself through that code, how are you going to walk another person through that code? And so now there is a huge blocker in the engineering team where no one knows what that code does, and yet it's in production and you have a lot of users. So yeah, from the beginning, I would say whatever code you are producing using AI tools, make sure to understand it thoroughly. Make sure it's something that you would write yourself, if it wasn't for the AI tool.
Thanks a lot. And I have maybe a question for you, Jennifer, also. They said, what is the best roadmap to learn web development in the age of AI? So what is the right roadmap? What do you recommend?
So I think it depends on what background you have, right? Like, where are you coming from? Do you have a background in mechanical engineering? Or do you have a background in nursing? Or, were you like a painter? I think the answer depends on like what you already know and where you're coming from. Obviously, you have to start somewhere, right? Like you have to pick a language and start learning it. Start with a language that's pretty high level. By that, I mean, like, there are languages that are like closer to binary. Don't pick one of those. Start with, Python or JavaScript, like one that has been used by people learning web development or full stack development for many, many years. Two reasons. One, it's a lot simpler, and it enables you to grasp basic concepts like what's a function, what's a loop, etc., before you get to the more difficult stuff. And two, there's just a lot more resources out there, right? So yeah, you have to cover computer science fundamentals. They're not optional. They're called fundamentals for a reason. So, and then I think, it's understanding within web development, there's actually a lot of avenues. And again, this is what Nisrine was saying, right? Like, you kind of need to pick where you want to go, even within like the broader kind of software areas. Like, do you want to become a Shopify expert where you work in e-commerce? Do you want to become a WordPress expert where all you do is work on WordPress sites and you build plugins, and you're an expert on that? Do you want to custom build websites from scratch? Probably less of a market for that, to be honest. Do you want to become a specialist in React, where you're probably working more on reactive web and mobile elements, not static pages, right? So blog posts, for example, are pretty static. They don't really change. So yeah, I think within that, you're gonna have to pick your specialties. That's what I'd say. Honestly, there are lots of resources out there on the internet that will give you kind of literally a roadmap or a journey that you can follow. And I think it's, find the one that you want to try. I would say don't just invent things and start on a project that's really difficult. You literally should have a journey that is mapped out for you of what you need to learn in what order. Otherwise, people just drop off. But having a journey is the best way to go.
And maybe to complete, when Claude has started, and I saw people starting to using it, and with the Claude Code and the different features, I asked Claude, I said, okay, now I want to get certified on Claude. How I do that? So it generated a program for me with the Excel sheet, saying exactly each day what I should do in order to reach certain level. So as you said, currently, you can use AI to build your own training program because the data is here and it's very easy to build it. But at the end, as Jennifer said, and also as Nisrine said, there is a question of mindset. Because if you have a plan, you have to execute the plan until the end. Not saying, okay, you didn't respect the plan, and at the end you said, I don't have all the skills. No. If you decide to execute a plan, like if you want to do sports, like if you want to reach a target, currently with what is existing, the idea is really to focus on the plan that you want to execute. And then you can develop any skills that you want. So of course, you must be aware also of what you are able to do personally, what you like, because doing a job that you don't like, I take your case, Nisrine, you are loving coding. So it's not like you choose coding because it's an emergency or whatever. No, you love that. So I think this is the one of the target is really to respect the plan. There is a lot of questions, and someone is asking why I didn't take his question. So I will check for his question because there is a lot. So what is his name? Let's try to find his question. I didn't find his question. Yeah. So Mr. El Noiri, I didn't find your question, so it's difficult for me to answer to your questions. So okay. So at least Nisrine, thank you very much. Maybe some words in Dari just to let you we bring you here to Morocco today. and شكرا بزاف في الوقت اللي عطيتينا. شكرا بزاف نقول المعلومات اللي بغيتي tu as voulu partager avec nous. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, Jennifer, également. Et alors, pendant qu'on faisait le webinaire, au début, il y avait un problème de son. Donc, pour ceux qui se posent des questions sur... ils voulaient que la première partie n'était pas bien broadcastée. En tout cas, il y aura une vidéo qui sera produite, qui sera disponible sur YouTube. Et donc, si les personnes veulent la revoir, on partagera la vidéo avec eux. So, thank you very much, Nisrine. Wish you a good weekend. Et joyeux Pâques pour Jennifer. Merci. Bye bye.
شكرا.